Nobody warned Olivia that the day she walked into that shelter would be the day her entire life shifted. She wasn't looking for a 130-pound Boerboel named Baron. She wasn't looking for anything. But Baron had already decided, and from the moment he placed his enormous head on her lap, he never looked anywhere else. She was 26, living alone in a city that didn't know her name. 5 days a week, she worked a schedule that left her hollow, and on weekends, instead of filling that hollowness with noise, she drove to the local animal shelter and volunteered. She told herself it was for the dogs, but the truth was simpler than that. The mournful look in those dogs' eyes filled something inside her she couldn't explain. Then, one Friday afternoon, the heavy metal door of the shelter swung open, and everything changed. He was enormous, a fawn Boerboel with a charcoal black mask, golden fur that caught the light like burnished copper, and a head the size of a small boulder. His name was Baron. The shelter worker, a tired woman named Sarah, pulled Olivia aside and explained quietly that Baron had been rescued from an illegal breeding facility, kept not as a dog, but as a production unit. He had never known a couch, never known someone calling his name with warmth behind it. When Baron walked slowly across the concrete floor and placed his massive head directly onto Olivia's lap, he didn't whimper, he didn't perform, he simply rested there, breathing steadily, like he had been waiting 2 years for exactly this moment. Olivia sat completely still, her hand found the soft fold behind his ear. That was it. Her best friend Chloe called it temporary insanity. "You have a studio apartment," she said. "You have credit card debt. You cannot afford a 130-pound Boerboel." Every single thing Chloe said was correct. Olivia signed the adoption papers anyway. The first 3 months were chaos disguised as joy. Morning walks with Baron were less walks and more being dragged through the neighborhood by a golden freight train. He claimed the entire couch on day 1 and looked genuinely offended when Olivia tried to reclaim her half. He snored with the volume of a small engine. He left a trail of drool on every surface he passed, like a very affectionate and very large slug. Olivia was happier than she had been in years, but happiness, she was about to learn, is rarely permanent. If you're still watching and haven't subscribed yet, I have to be honest, that breaks my heart a little. Hit that subscribe button right now. Stories like this one need your support. The call came on a Tuesday. Cold, professional, efficient, economic downsizing, effective immediately. She had 2 months of severance, a studio apartment she could no longer afford, and a 130-pound Boerboel whose appetite respected no budget. She had only one option, and it was the one she had spent years running from. She called her parents. Her mother, Martha, answered on the second ring. Olivia explained the situation in careful, controlled sentences. There was a long pause on the line, then, "Come home, sweetheart. We'll figure it out." She didn't mention Baron until they were already in the truck, 250 miles into the journey, Baron's enormous head resting on her shoulder, leaving a warm stripe of drool along her jacket. She didn't mention him right up until the moment she pulled into her parents' driveway at midnight, and her mother opened the front door. Martha let out a sound that was somewhere between a gasp and a scream. Her father, George, appeared behind her, newspaper still in hand, glasses halfway down his nose. He looked at the animal standing next to his daughter. He looked at Olivia. He looked back at the animal. "Is that a dog?" he said slowly. "Or did you bring home a horse?" Olivia gave him a tired smile. "Dad, this is Baron. He lives with us now." The first week was a Cold War fought in carpeted rooms. Martha followed Baron with a cloth, erasing paw prints from surfaces she had spent decades keeping pristine. George sat at the kitchen table with a calculator, muttering darkly about monthly food costs and the structural integrity of the furniture. Baron, completely indifferent to the tension he had created, was having the best week of his life. He had discovered that couches were actually beds, that humans were actually pillows, that every room was his room. Then came the evening that changed everything. Martha had settled into her corner of the couch with her knitting, the same corner she had occupied every evening for 20 years. Baron walked over slowly, assessed the situation, and lowered his 130-pound frame directly onto the cushion beside her. Martha was compressed gently into the armrest. She looked down at the massive black masked face now resting against her thigh. "I am older than you," she informed him firmly. "You will give me space." Baron yawned. A single magnificent drop of drool landed on her knee. Martha looked at it. Then she looked at him, and despite everything, despite the paw prints and the food bills and the sheer unreasonable size of this animal, a smile broke across her face that she couldn't stop. When George walked in and found his wife wedged into the corner of the couch, laughing at a dog who was clearly winning, something shifted in him too. Within a month, the silent war had ended. George began slipping Baron cookies in the kitchen when he thought no one was watching. Martha started saving the softest throw pillow specifically for Baron's evening spot. The old house, quiet for so many years, the kind of quiet that accumulates slowly and feels normal until something disturbs it, was now full of sound. Baron snoring, his tail hitting the furniture, his joyful, thunderous bark every time someone came home. One evening, Olivia stood in the doorway and watched her father scratch Baron's back while her mother adjusted the pillow beneath his head. Neither of them noticed her standing there. They were just present, together, in the simple, ordinary warmth of the moment. Losing her job had felt like the end of something. Standing in that doorway, she understood it had actually been the beginning. Because Baron hadn't just walked into her life, he had walked into all of their lives, this giant, drooling, unstoppable ball of love, and had quietly dismantled the distance that years of separate adult lives had built between them. As weeks turned to months, Olivia stopped counting what she had lost. A job could be replaced, a city could be returned to, but this, her father laughing until his tea spilled, her mother knitting a blanket she claimed was not for the dog and was absolutely for the dog, Baron's warm weight pressing against her feet each night, this was not replaceable. One Sunday morning, sitting at the kitchen table, she thought about the moment at the shelter, about the way Baron had crossed that cold concrete floor and simply placed his head in her lap. No performance, no hesitation. He had chosen her 2 years before she needed to be chosen. She reached down and found him there. As always, his black masked face tilted up toward her, amber eyes steady and calm. "Good decision," she whispered. His tail swept across the floor like a slow, certain pendulum. Would you have taken that chance? A dog you couldn't afford in a life that felt too small to hold him? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely want to know.